Okay, once again, we're going to ask you to raise your hand if you have a question. Wait for our wireless mic to be brought to you. We're going to take an opening statement from Coach Izzo, and then we're going to take questions for the student athletes first. We will then dismiss the student athletes, and Coach Izzo will stay up here for a few minutes. So, Coach, congratulations.
Well, thank you, and I can't tell you how proud I am of these guys for what they've gone through and how they've handled it. And even the prep yesterday, this morning, doesn't hurt when the Magic Man come in and give them a little pointers, and I just kind of stayed on the side. But I also want to say that it had to be a crushing loss for Duke. They've had such an incredible year with the injuries. At the end, that's tough. But I told my team, the way Mike Krzyzewski and his players handled it was so classy that I was almost not embarrassed, but I said I had to relook at how I make sure my team handles losses. I think we do a decent job, but that was off the charts classy. So big win for us. I can't tell you how many times in those huddles they didn't quit, they didn't give in, and I said we might not be physically as tough as some teams I've had, but I think mentally we might be tougher than any team I had, and that's a great credit to these guys next to me and the guys in that locker room.
All right, we'll take questions for the student athletes. Please raise your hand, and we'll start in the back with Zach.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. Cassius, could you just describe what the emotion was like for you as you're dribbling away from Barrett and Zion, and you kind of know you're gonna end the game that way?
It was just shocking. I knew I was gonna get fouled. I was preparing my mind to knock down some free throws and stuff, but I got the ball and got away. And then I was like, I'm about to dribble it out. This is really happening. So it was crazy. It was a crazy moment.
All right, we're gonna go down here, guys, underneath on our right-hand side.
Thank you. Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. Kenny, on that three-pointer you hit late, Duke had done a great job tightening the window on you all day. When that one came open, how did you come open that clearly? And tell me about that being drawn up, and as you saw it go through the rim, take me through that whole process.
Coach did a great job. We ran it a little earlier, it didn't work, and we went back to it. Coach was like, it's going to be open. This guy next to me has been making my job real easy all year, finding me when I'm open. And as soon as it left my hand, I knew it was good. I was kind of planning my celebration already, but knew I had to get back on defense.
All right, we'll go right in the middle.
Kenny or Xavier Mercival, Skyboat. What was the game plan to stop the entry passes to Zion on the block?
To try not to let him get it. I mean, you can say
was there reach?
That sounds complicated.
No.
Just what was the strategy for defending Zion down in the paint?
Just to not let him do his tendencies. So he's a heavy right shoulder guy. So just to limit him from going right shoulder as much as we could, to make his catches tough, not to give up any lobs either.
Matt, Clinton Yates, ESPN. Matt, your first take, you looked like you could have banged it. Second one, you definitely did. Third one, got the crazy circus shot. Just tell me a little bit about what those three plays were like for you.
That's the basketball gods, I guess. I don't know what got into me. I just the first time I went up was just kind of soft, and then the second time I was like, I go up strong, So I just decided to cock it back and dunk it, and executed it. And then the second one, I just drove baseline, and then I just adjusted my body to avoid getting my shot blocked, and kind of just threw it up. And basketball gods did me good.
We're going to stay right down here, Spartan Nation.
Hondo Carpenter with Spartan Nation. Cassius, before the game, talking with Coach K, he said that you were not only the best guard in the Big Ten, but the best guard in America. I'm curious, and then tonight after the game, he talked about with this team, the way they're playing with you leading them, certainly with a great chance in Minneapolis. For you, it's been a road that you've been given nothing. You've earned everything. What does it mean to not only get the praise from your fans and from Coach Izzo, but from a fellow Hall of Famer and Coach Mike Krzyzewski?
It's just an honor, Like you said, nothing was earned, nothing was given. Everything was earned, just working hard, constantly getting better and better. This guy right here trusting me. These guys right here trusting me, to do what I do for this team. So, I think I took 20-something shots today. They didn't say a word. They encouraged me to just keep going, keep doing what I do best for this team. And it's an amazing environment for me.
Are we going to go in the back on our left-hand side?
Chip Patterson, CBS Sports. This is for Cassius or any of the players. I was wondering what Magic's message was, or at least what your takeaways were from Magic's message prior to the game.
He was big, just talked about the things we had to do, get out in transition, boxing out early, all type of things that help us win these games. He talked about their run and some similarities they had, in the same situation. We were a faster team. We maybe were a smarter team tonight. We executed our game plan in the best way. And like I said, they were a good team too. It was a battle the whole night. And at the end, we made some winning plays. And that's what it's all about at this point in the year.
Right here in the middle.
Will Shanahan, the Georgetown Voice. Kenny, you struggled from distance in D.C. this weekend. So coming out of that timeout, the ball is going to be in your hands. And the way it played out, Zion, who can jump out of the gym, was bearing down on you. Where are you at mentally before that shot, and can you just describe, the elation?
Just all weekend, all last weekend, just all season, really. My teammates and my coaches have been doing a great job of keeping me confident, telling me to keep shooting, next one's going down, stuff like that. And, when Cassius got the ball, you always got to be ready to shoot. So I was just sitting there ready, and I was kind of measuring up how high Zion could jump since he got the last one.
We're going to stay in the middle of the room.
Kenny and Matt, as seniors, you guys have been through a lot of these battles. How do you draw on your experience against a team that's young, very talented, obviously, but young in a crucial situation like that?
Kenny, can you start?
I think it goes as a testament to our entire team, our maturity and our experience, because we've been through battles like this before, and we've lost a couple like this too. So just learning through experiences like that, and even past years, to take it into this game and make the winning plays, like Cash said at the end.
Yeah, they're a great team, great players, and they're well coached. That was a tough team to play, and like Kenny said, we do have a lot of experience, and we've been through a lot of adversity also, and I feel like that's helped us just on the court and off. But we're just a close group and well connected. Just knowing that we're gonna have each other's backs out there, it helps.
Bailey, Rivals.com. Coach, you're known as a tough competitor, tough coach. You stay on your guys. But you also clap them up a lot, too. Talk about mixing, criticism with support, and could one of the players follow that up, too?
Well, it's, that's what we do, They say we're a family, and, your family, you've got to push people, and you've got to compliment people. And it's kind of sad that certain things happen and nobody sees 95% of what goes on. And in that 95% of what goes on, there's a lot more pulling and hugging than pushing. And I really believe that, and I have for years. And these guys have been awesome. I guess they take what I give them, but I take what they give me too. Once in a while I said, you guys have meetings and say those damn coaches. Well, we have meetings every day and say those damn players. So it's a mutual love affair here. And but I'm just so proud of them, and I'm so proud that they persevered. I heard Rudy Tomjanovich. I went down, one of my former assistants was at Houston when they won 2, and he talked about having a heart of a lion. And a heart of a lion is what they have. I'm telling you, the mental toughness, even when we were down 30-21, there was no panic in the huddle. We just said we didn't do some things right. We quit rebounding. We quit getting the ball inside, and we turned it around. And Cash has a lot to do with that. He stirs the drink in a lot of different ways, but tonight he even had a couple steals. If he starts playing defense, I'm going to get scared, But he really did do a great job in a lot of ways. And you asked the question earlier about Kenny and Xavier and Nick. They did a good job battling Zion down there. That kid is worth everything they say about him and then more.
Cassius, anything to add about the player-coach relationship?
Yeah, like Coach said, people just sometimes they only see the yelling, they see the screaming. They don't see how much he cares for us, how much he's there for us, how much he's, pulling for us, rooting for us, on the same guy, giving that emotion when it's time to win games. It's all out of emotion, it's all out of love, it's all out of care, and that's all it is. That's our relationship. So, if you care for somebody so much and they mess up, of course you're going to get mad at them. Of course you're going to yell at them. But, then we do a good job of responding. You know what I'm saying? He got after Kenny a lot this game, telling him when you going to hit a shot, when you going to hit a shot. Kenny said, I'm going to hit the next one. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to hit the next one. And that's what he did. He came up in a big moment. So it's all love. It's all care. He pushes us to be the best that we can be.
I think we got time for 2, maybe 3 more. We're going to start right over here on the left.
David Hale with ESPN. For any of the players, but Cassius in particular, when somebody like Magic comes to talk to you, I'm sure the obvious thing that you take from that is the legacy of somebody like that and what he's accomplished at Michigan State coming to help you guys. Have you thought about the legacy that you're creating at this point and what it would mean to your guys' legacy to finish this job off in Minneapolis?
Yeah, it's, not just Magic. There's a lot of guys that came back. Mateen was here. Charlie Bell was here. It's, like I said, that Spartan legacy, that Spartan family, it goes back years and years and years. And, they still pushing for us. They still supporting us. And, we hope to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? We hope to leave our mark. And then one day, we're going to come back and tell the young guys that, this is what it takes to get to this point, now that we got there. But we can come back and tell these guys and give them advice and all type of things like that. So it's a big deal just seeing those guys, seeing what this program means to them, and to have that same feeling that, years and years and years now, from now, we'll come back and maybe do that same thing.
Mike DeFabo, Lansing State Journal. This question's for Matt. Matt, I think there are just 2 players that have played under Tom Izzo who have stayed all 4 years who haven't made it to a Final Four. You were in jeopardy of being the third. Just what were your emotions coming into this game, and what does it mean to cap your senior season with a trip to the Final Four?
I mean, all my focus was on just doing the best job I could do to help this team win. I wasn't even thinking about that. I love this team. This is a special team. We got a special group. We've got a great coach. And, this is making a lot of memories this year. And, hopefully we can make some more. We got a great opportunity.
Take 2 more right from the back.
Your radio, you had 4 steals tonight. You guys turned them over 17 times. What was the approach defensively this evening? What keyed it, and what you guys were then able to score out of those turnovers too? 24 points off turnovers.
Wow. Yeah, that was, it was big. Just me being in those gaps. Taking away driving angles. That's a big team. They do a good job getting to that basket. Especially, they got their tendencies. They go strong left or strong right. So I was roaming a little bit. Trey Jones didn't really, take any 3-pointers or anything like that. So it's a little bit easier to roam in there, stay in those gaps, being on the help side off the lob and things. So I was just in the right moments, quick hands, just making plays that way.
And we'll take our last question for the student athletes in the back.
Zach Brazilian, New York Post. Xavier, it looked like on video on that pass to Cassius at the last play of the game that you kind of gave him a wink and a nod. Can you take us through that?
I kind of told him, I saw the way Trey was guarding him, and I was like, I'm just going to throw it up court because nobody's expected us to go up court. So I was okay, you go that way. I told Kenny, I was like, you go that way, Cash go that way. And then when I smacked the ball, I tried to fake it, and Cash got open. I thought he was going to get fouled, but when I saw he didn't get fouled, I was ecstatic.
All right, guys, you guys are all set. Thank you. Congratulations.
College is a cutthroat world, and Mike Krzyzewski just a few moments ago sitting in your seat said that although he's disappointed for his team, he's happy for you. And a lot of times in the game of college basketball, the camaraderie of the friendships, because it's such a small group at you and his level, doesn't get discussed. Can you talk about that?
Well, first of all, I'm not at his level yet. When you look at the championships he's won, the number of games he's won, but I am in his arena, sort of, and I'm telling you, I was moved by how I think I would have been crushed. I think I would have gave him credit. I think I would have gave him a hug and wished him luck. But the way he was and the way his players were, it made me feel good about my profession again, because I've had some question marks in the last couple of years. Listen, nobody does it better. And the reason they don't do it better is because if you look at it athletically, academically, socially, if you look at the consistency. It's just year after year after year, and yet I say it's what keeps me driving. You know, I've always got some goal that I haven't reached yet, and probably never going to reach some of them. You know, they always say that everybody's looking for perfection, and you're never going to get it. I'm never going to get some of those goals, but it's fun to see someone who's done it with the class he's done it in, and then to try to achieve some similar things.
Tom, Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. From the outside looking in, this might look like a 32-6 Michigan State team, a number 2 seed, an 8th Final Four. But on the inside, I think you might agree there were more obstacles for this run than any of your other Final Fours. Would you agree with that? Can you elaborate on that? And for that reason, where does this rank in terms of the satisfaction level?
Well, I said, you know, my only other time, and let's get something else straight too, as long as we're starting to put me on somewhat of the same planet. We're 2-11 now. We just doubled our win total against Duke, and we're 2-11. But I'd say the last time, you know, when it was Kentucky and Duke, when we had a pretty good team, but we were a 5 seed, was pretty good in Austin. But this one, when you look at what the players have been through, when you look at how good Duke is, and yet I can understand what it's like to get Zion back and an injury, and then they also, you know, it was hard because you get an injury to Reddish, and he doesn't play a game. You know, if you remember, I think it was 13 or 14. We had Gary Harris in that group. We had a bunch of players, Adrian Payne, Brandon Dawson, get hurt. We were really good at the end of the year. We played really good, but yet we weren't on the same page on everything, and got beat by UConn, and I thought that was one of my best teams. So I can't tell you how enjoyable it is, because I know what these guys have been through. You know, a lot of people think they know what they've been through, but there is something about being in those meetings. And I think the greatest meeting I had in 10 years was when Nick went down, and I called everybody in at 7:30 the next morning, and I just said, we got to meet, and we got to go over the situation, and we're not going to change our goals. And I mean, they really bought in, you know. I told our own media that it was a meeting that I don't know if I was trying to pump them up or myself up, because I was down about it. But it was one that they adhered to, and they wanted to be coached. They wanted to be pushed, and they were, and they are, and my staff did a great job, and so did the guys.
Stay over here in ESPN.
Clinton Yates, ESPN. I just wanted to get back to this game specifically. Coach, you guys won this game shooting 6 free throws. Xavier Tillery made 2. Can you tell me a little bit about how the flow of this game went in terms of what you thought you were going to have to do to win it versus what you did? Okay, that's a great question, because number one, I said, let's get to the free throw line first. I think we got there first, and my second best shooter missed 2, and then Cash missed, you know, 1. That's kind of un-American. He's a great free throw shooter. So we didn't do a very good job there. I said we got to out-rebound them. Now, the first 10 minutes, I thought we did a phenomenal job on the boards, very good job on the offensive boards, but then they took over. But the third one was maybe as big as any of them, and we said we can't turn the ball over. You know, turn the ball over and you get an open court, and Zion is just flying, and they got shooters, and Trey is such a good distributor. To have 7 turnovers against a team like that and turn them over 17 times, I thought was the difference in the game. We didn't shoot it great. We didn't rebound great. But boy, we did do a good job with the turnovers, and we did a decent job keeping Zion off the boards. When they put him in the post, that was tough sledding, and we had to make a couple adjustments on some switching we did, and players made good adjustments on the run too, and that was big.
Come over here to our left-hand side.
Coach, Matt Sachs from La Jolla. Yesterday you said to be the best, you have to beat the best. Now that it has happened, you're beating the #1 overall seed, this talented team. Does it make it any sweeter based on this exact team that you're playing? You played.
Well, I mean, listen, when you're Duke, everybody that beats Duke is, you know, ready to put that on the wall, and because that's the program he's built, and you know that's one I'm hoping to still build. You know, I mean the respect everybody has for Duke is why it's a big game. But I do think we beat arguably the best team in the country, and but there's another game coming up. You know, there were a lot of teams, some pretty good upsets in this tournament, not early, but later on. And, you know, now what I got to do is refocus. You know, we've been there. It's the 8th Final Four. But we've only won one. So I got to reassess how I handled it, what I do, and that's what I told my players. We're going to look at this. And my dream came true tonight on the floor because Cassius' mother said, I said, how about that? She said, that's not good enough. We got 2 more. I looked at her. I said, a woman of my heart. I just absolutely loved it. I said, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to make sure I let your son and all the other players know exactly what you said. So it's going to be grind city, and we got to figure out how we do things a little different because there's some good teams up there, and not getting enamored with this win, even though it was a big win for us and a big win for our program.
We're going to take a few more on our right-hand side, Coach.
Jeff Zilgate, USA Today. Tom, you had mentioned maybe a little gallows humor the last couple of days about your record against Mike Krzyzewski. How much does the win mean to you today? And over the years, have you been able to maybe distance yourself from what that record is and put a little bit more focus on the players and not so much about you?
Well, I put a lot of focus on the players, not about me, but the record is the players and me. And, listen, when you there's a lot of teams I've had a lot of success against, our program, our teams, and there's some that I haven't, and there's a reason. I mean, they've been good, So 2-11 doesn't make me sleep any better, probably at the end of the year, but I'm going to sleep better tonight because that second win, that 50% of the wins I had sends us to a Final Four, and I guess in my own way, the first win I had sent us to a Final Four too, and what Cassius was alluding to is we had a lot of players from that team. Our video people made a highlight film, and they all sent, I guess the only good thing about Twitter, they all sent in some things through the social media, and they put a nice tape together, and it was all talking about those games back in Austin and how they led us to a Final Four. And now I guess I got to get my only championship team and Magic's team to figure out how you win one, and again, and that's what we're going to try to do.
In the far back standing room.
Yeah, Coach Sean Haggerty for the Hoya. Coach, Final Four being played in the U.S. Bank Minneapolis Stadium. Tonight was 20,000 fans. Next week is going to be a lot more. How do you prepare your team for that insane environment?
Well, I thank my former athletic director, Mark Hollis, because he had us playing everywhere from on ships to in Germany. He had us playing in Ford Field in front of the biggest crowd against Kentucky that ever witnessed a game at that point in time. So I've been in some of these in those big arenas, and they're eerie. When you're practicing them, they're eerie. There's nobody in there but you. You felt like a guy that was walking down in the basement when I was a kid. There were like ghosts around there. There's empty place. But when it's filled, there's nothing better. And for me, Detroit was unbelievable. We had 30,000, 40,000 at the practice, and that was special. And, I'm a cold weather guy. Don't really care about golfing this time of year, so I'm going to enjoy Minneapolis too.
3 or 4 more right from that, right in the back. Yep, same area. Zach.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. Tom, the Final Four is kind of the continuation of what we've seen the last few years, where you have veteran teams and not the one-and-done type teams. Kentucky and Duke both lost today. What do you think it just says about the value of experience, maybe over pure talent and potential?
Well, I think Jay Wright at Villanova set the standard for that, and if you really look back from when we won it 20 years ago, and Gary Williams, there were a lot of veteran teams. Mike, when he had Battier and those guys, I think there's a lot of veteran teams that have. Mike did it in 10. Some guys have done it with less. I think Cal did in whatever year that was, and I think Mike did in 15. But experience matters. It really does, and it's amazing what all his freshmen did. I mean, my freshmen tonight had played so well the other night. They were deer in the headlights. I mean, we were coming out of huddles, and one was supposed to zig right and go left, and he zigged left and went right. And then he says, oh, yeah, my bad. And I said, no, I don't like that, my bad stuff. But guys, freshmen, it's hard to be in these environments. No matter who you've played during the year, there's something about experience. That's what I noticed in my huddles. The Kennys, the Cuetos, the Cassiuses, they were pretty calm. They're a little better than that than I am.
Two more from the back.
Ron Bailey, Rivals.com. Coach, how do you feel about, you've seen a lot of changes in the game over your years. How do you feel about maybe the newest one, which is NBA-tization of the game, 5 out, you're playing 4 littles, 1 big now, a lot of spacing predicated on three-point shooting, hard ball screens, all that kind of stuff. How do you feel about the game, the college game, trending in that direction?
Yeah, we all copy. You know, we do copy. I mean, ball screens have been something that, you know, goes to the NBA, icing down things. Whatever the NBA does, we copy. I still think there's room for a big man. You know, I talked to some guys in the NBA, you know, and I've talked to some friends of mine that are coaching, and I don't think we're ready to give up on him. You know, Nick Ward was a very valuable part of today's thing, even though he wore down and some things because of the hand. But, you know, he made some big plays. When we could get it in there, he could score it, where other guys didn't do as good a job of that. I think we should do a better job of being able to do both. But I'll play it whatever way the rules go, and I'll adjust. That's kind of what we got to do. I hope we don't forget about the big men. Sometimes, hell, those guys protect me once in a while.
We'll take the last one from David.
Yeah, David Aldridge, The Athletic. Congrats, Tom.
Thanks, David.
Someone had the stat a few minutes ago that almost all of your seniors have gone to at least one Final Four, and I wonder what that means to you as you hear that number, as you hear that in your head, and what it speaks to the consistency of your program over the years.
You know, David, that probably is what I'm proudest of, is the consistency, and I told Mike that about his, but, you know, it was Gary Harris and Adrian Payne, two of the guys I love to death, and, you know, we had a really good team. We had a bunch of injuries during the year, and we were up 9 on UConn and lost, and that was they went on to win it, but that kind of broke the streak. And Jim Nance last night said to me, yeah, but every senior that has stayed there has been at least in a Elite 8. And I don't know, it just didn't sound as sexy to me, you know. It was great, but it just didn't sound as thrilling to me. And yet, when I look back on it, I'm proud of that too. I've had so many good assistants and so many good players that grind it. You know, we usually don't get the top of the top, and we had a couple, and I love that too. But these guys have just kind of earned their way. They weren't given anything. They earned their way, and that's what I think veterans do. I talked to Jay Wright a lot about it a couple years ago, and you know, that theory about getting old. You know, I don't want to get old, but it's nice when my players do.
All right, you're all set, Coach. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
a lot, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.